All righty, guys. Welcome back to the Red Corner for Slim and Bones. I am Devo. Boys, baseball is back. Spring training is back. We got baseball back for sure. Now, up here, this is not baseball weather, right? We're getting crushed again, yet again, with depending on where you live, a foot to 2 feet of snow. It's been madness. We'll talk more about the snow because I want to hear Slim's shoveling sagas because that's never ending in your neighborhood. And speaking of sagas, we're going to talk more about this Bryce Harper stuff. We're going to talk about, just the first few games of spring, what we've been seeing. The Phillies drama circus has somewhat begun. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, though, Slim. Let me hear your Slim shout-outs, man. Let's see these shout-outs.
All right, so it's been a busy weekend and a busy week since we last seen all the Red Riders.
Yeah.
So, number one shout-out, everyone knows, congratulations to the men's USA hockey team defeating Canada in overtime. That was the first gold medal since the upset back in 1980?
Yes.
Right? So that's 26 years ago. Long time. I got another shout out because this other one is super influential, a little darker, but 25 years ago, last week, we lost a great Dale Earnhardt Sr. So shout out to Dale Earnhardt Sr. Because if you were from the city, you knew nothing besides number 8, the man in black driving NASCAR. There were no other NASCAR drivers at that point in time, plain and simple. And last but not least, you got to shout out baseball being back. We actually saw some live games, thankfully.
Yes. No, that's a beauty. Yeah, shout out to Dale Earnhardt. I did not expect that one was coming for your weekly shout outs. And by the way, the Slim shout outs, new segment, we're going to be, coming off hot every episode now with that. So, Slim, thank you for that.
Yes.
What's the weekly poll looking like, brother? And there you go. Bad start for you, Bones. I saw that one coming.
You could expect this one with the new production.
100%.
Roll.
You're on mute, brother. There we go.
Now, there we go. Now I hit going off the wrong one here. So the poll we got, it was on Twitter and Instagram. Do you support Rhys Hoskins in his return to the Phillies? But as we know, right now is 59% yes, 41% no. And then, of course, since then, Rhys Hoskins signed with the Cleveland Guardians. So
right,
that is not happening, and thank God that's not happening.
Slim, do those results shock you at all? 59 yes?
They do shock me because it's almost like Stockholm Syndrome. When you think about what the Phillies' problem was for years, the clog at first base, DH, maybe the corner outfield, which none of them could really ever play.
Right.
And there's long story short, there's no role for Hoskins if he came back here. He's a DH at this point. Well, we're solidified there. And Harper really is the guy at first base right now. I don't think there's ever going to be a move unless it's a big time bat that moves Harper out of first base right now. So I was a little bit shocked to see that, especially since he was one of those maybe underappreciated, don't know what you got in your right-handed bat until it's gone type scenarios.
Well, to be clear, you're shocked that 59% were saying yes, correct?
Oh, that wanted him back. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Because, absolutely. Because the defensive factor, the fit factor, and I think a couple years ago, people were not been like, oh, right-handed bat. And now since it's a need for us, you hear it. So that's why people want him back, I guess, but it really doesn't fit.
No, and Bones, when you saw that, what were you thinking?
That's a homer poll.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
I know.
That's probably a bunch of people that don't watch the Phillies, to be honest with you.
And our polls, truth be told, we usually get somewhere between 75 to 125 people respond, right? So it's not the largest sample. It's a nice sample size, and it's, diehard Phillies fans. So to Bones, to your point, if you were a Rhys stan, right, and there's a lot of Rhys supporters out there, he was all we had for a while there, and he's a great community guy. And listen, he was a good player too. Let's he was a good player. Now today, does he fit? We'll get into that, but let's get into, because Slim, we're going to get deeper into that because we have a whole segment on that. But let's kind of go to the background of how we got here. And folks, if you are new here, right, folks, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. It helps. And we're trying to add this graphic up here. There we go. Beautiful. So this is where this whole story started, right? So Devin Caney of 94 WIP got a source where she reported on basically saying that Harper was stirring the pot up a little bit, right? For lack of a better way of describing it. He wanted his boy back. He wanted Hoskins back. And the Phillies reportedly did kick the tires on this, but ultimately chose to not pursue him. And one of the other things that was most interesting about this is Harper, and this was in the report, wanted to kind of get a little bit more edge and swagger. So, Bones, I know you got a lot to say about this, but before we get your personal thoughts on the fit, what do you think about this report? And just wanted to kind of put it there.
I think it's a deep well report from Devin Caney. I just don't I think Bryce Harper is just trying to make this all about him again. Like, oh, I've been doing this, and here we go again. He's not keeping things in-house.
Right.
Which he was outspoken about that last week about Dombrowski with his elite comments. But, again, I just don't – I'm not buying the Harper thing here. Like, he's making himself out to be the good guy when he's trying to – all that talk last week, he's just going, I don't know, I think it just makes him look worse.
Okay.
So I'm fine with trying to get things done. So my question is, do we trust Bryce the GM? All right. Is this Bryce being too buddy with a guy? Because what doesn't make sense to me is saying you want swagger and then bringing back Hoskins, who I think is more like a lunch pail type player, even though I love them when we had them. So my question is, do we want Bryce to be involved in the decision? I think the answer is actually yes, right? We want Bryce to have a little bit of a communication line with the front office on what he thinks should be happening. I still believe in Bryce as an elite player.
Right.
I think he's going to get back there. I think Topper thinks he's going to be getting back there. My question is, do you guys trust Bryce the GM when he gives out these little nuggets? Because like I said, fit wise there, little wonky, saying I mean the price at Rhys Hoskins, it was solid. I think I saw 1.7. Is that what he signed for? So that's fine and dandy. 1.5. That's fine and dandy. That's a piece you can tell the managers to go get, and it's something they should probably be able to do in most regards. But I'm fine listening to Bryce. I just don't think listening to him on Rhys was the move.
Yeah, and honestly,
this I side with Dombrowski with for sure.
Right, because this story had like 4 different subplots, right? And we'll explore each of them, to be honest, because this was a juicy story.
Right.
Now, when my initial knee jerk to this was, I'll give you my whole psychology here. The dork fan in me right away was like, ooh, exciting reunion. And then when you kind of take a step back, you're like, I think I tweeted this, where's he going to play, right? So that was my, real-time reaction. But then I was critical of Harper to begin with. I was like, well, what about Garcia? If you're a Dallas Garcia and you're reading this, you're not happy. But then you take a step back, you're like, well, Harper didn't publicly say this, right? There's a report that kind of got out there. So it's an interesting thing. And I like what you said, Slim. Basically, we should want Harper to be invested into this team, right? So the fact that he's trying to explore around a little bit, I was okay with. Now, as far as the fit goes, let's just have the conversation. Because if I had to guess, both of these guys are Boras guys, right? Scott Boras. And Harper might have been a little bit in tuned on the lack of market thus far for Hoskins, right? So was Harper thinking, well, look, this might be something affordable we can do. And I'm looking at at the guys right now. Is this a guy that you'd rather have over a Rojas, a Rojas, De La Cruz, or a Kemp? Because those are the names that he's compared against. So that's where, like, when you're really looking at it, Hoskins for $1.5 million. I mean, is it that bad of an idea?
I'm all for it, and I would love to say, oh, you know what? He can ride the pine, be a little situational bat, and a depth piece until an injury occurs. But if an injury occurs at first base or something, we're in major trouble. But again, like I'm sure, but we all know,
right?
Our first baseman does have a tendency to get hurt. So it's funny Harper wants Hoskins, and his biggest role would be if only if Harper gets hurt. in most of those scenarios. So it's just like it's hard. But I agree with you over batting wise over a Rojas. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Rojas this year.
Yeah, and Bones, I want you to jump in there, but just to clarify, I'm just looking at the 26-man type guy, right? The guy that's the extra bat that's fighting for a job. Would you rather have Hoskins over that guy? That's the question. That's the scenario here. Bones.
Yeah, I would clearly have him over that, but he's not going to go for that.
That's the kicker right there. That's the kicker.
Because he's probably going to play out in Cleveland. They got the Stephen Vogt out there. They'll find a place for him, but as far as the fit for the team, it just doesn't happen. And this all comes from, was it 2 years ago? Harper didn't want. Basically, Harper kicked Hoskins out of first base. They could say that was their decision all they want. That was a Harper decision.
You think so? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was more to the fact of his arm, right? Like that's why.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
To me, but yeah. As far as on this team, of course, he's better than every bench player we got, but it's still not going to be a fit because he's not going to play every day.
Right. So it's more of a fit thing.
Yeah.
So do you buy that, Slim?
Yeah, it's full circle going back to 3-4 years ago when we initially signed Schwarber and Castellanos. Right. We saw Hoskins try to play the outfield. We've been here before, and now it's 4 or 5 years later. So let's not. But I'm 100% with you. If we could have squeezed him in as a 27th player, but then the issue becomes, I guess, I'm 100% with Bones. I just don't see the fit, man.
Right. The conversations, again, when they say kick the tires, maybe it was Rhys was like, look, I want an opportunity to win a job in the outfield. I'm just going to throw that scenario out there, right? And the Phillies were like, we don't see that for you. And then he said, well, I'm going to go somewhere where I got a path for more plate appearances. It might have been that. And for that, you can't really knock the situation. And now, go ahead. No, go. Jump in.
He played 90 games last year. So you're asking the managers to invest in a guy who might not be available. So now what do you think about that $1.5 million when it's only for 90 games, and these 90 games, half of them aren't full time?
Right. Yeah, he's coming off an injury year. He's coming off his least productive year, and obviously he's not getting any younger. So I'm with you on that.
And he really did, because like you said, let me try the outfield, let me try this or that. But he lost his job with some youth players that were coming up in Milwaukee. So we're trying to have that same kind of flow right now with our guys, and you kind of don't want to disturb the motion of what that looks like. You want to let it come in, hit the waves, ride it, hit the good with the bad, and then the All-Star break, then make your moves.
No, I like that, and kind of like what I was saying earlier about there's like 3 different subplots on this story,
right?
And I think the biggest one is going back to Harper stating in the beginning of spring training that the 4-hole, right, cleanup didn't really do its job last year. And then we know that he's been trying to put a little bit more, onus on protection for himself, right? So is this him trying to take more control of that? And is there more friction being built between him and Dombrowski as a result of this?
Yeah, I think it's just adding more fuel to the fire with this, because it's basically him telling Dombrowski, "Oh, I asked him to do this and he didn't go and do it, so we're not on the same page."
Right.
And that's what I was like talking about earlier. With I don't think it's a good idea that Harper's even bringing this up, and it's definitely coming. The report's coming from his camp.
You would think. You would think.
Because he's just in a bitter mood right now. He's being baby boom.
Right. Yeah.
If you're talking like the mind games with it, Dombrowski kind of has the win-win situation on Bryce's performance this year. As I said last week, if Bryce is elite, Dombrowski says, "See, I challenge him. It was motivating no matter what he says." And if he stinks, Dombrowski will say, "See, I see he stunk." Now, Bryce has the piece, and he just played it, and he can keep playing it. He can keep hitting the same chord, which is you have to bring something in. You have to bring something in, and you can say it in a million different ways. You got to bring Rhys Hoskins in. You got to. I would move for Alonso. I would do this. I could do that. We need this. The batting at the 4th spot wasn't good enough. Yada yada yada. So I think that slow burn and grind. We're going to see a move again this All-Star break. I know we are.
Well, unless Garcia plays closer to the 2023 Garcia, right?
Yeah, but with the strikeouts, I don't think. I mean, the strikeouts were heavy those last couple of years.
Oh no, I'm not saying that's happening.
And all weekend long, I try to convince myself of Bohm. I've been doing it for a long time, trying to convince myself. I think Bohm's a good player, but I do see the holes when you're talking about him being a 4th hole guy because we don't want doubles, we want homers, and we don't want strikeouts.
The fear of homers, right?
Or at least the fear of homers, right?
Changes everything.
But the point being made, Dombrowski now, when he makes that move, he has to make the perfect move so that it satisfies the team, us, our thirst. We all want it. Satisfied the Mr. Elite Bryce Harper's thirst. And then it adds even more pressure to your star player. So this season, if you're not ready for it, because right now it's like the beginning of the roller coaster. This is just the beginning of it. We're going up. We're saying, oh, Dave feels that way. Harper feels that way, And then we're gonna hit the top, and hopefully it's a great roller coaster and not a burnout.
Well, you know what this team is going to need, right? Just to kind of get this funk off them. They're going to need a couple big vibes wins early in the year, right? Get a couple big vibes wins. Everyone's happy. Everyone's, dumping the cooler, whatever you want to call it. And then the speculations of, I'm going to pull this up here in the chat here. We got Mark saying, to me, all this sounds like a Bryce Harper is trade bait and wants out. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be hearing more and more of if the season goes in a certain direction, which we don't even want to think about.
Well, I don't even want to think about it because the truth be told, I believe that's another way he can control his own destiny, right?
Right.
And that means if he's going to be able to pick the teams he goes to, we're not there yet. I think we got to. There's too many years left on that contract. We're not there quite yet. Yeah.
We're not there. Anything else on this story? I know there was the Howard Eskin subplot. Do you guys want to jump into that a little bit?
Oh, sure. Another baby.
Yeah. I mean, so my criticism of the Howard Eskin thing is obviously there's always going to be the low-hanging fruit of people saying that Devin Caney took your job, right? So he's going to walk into that no matter what. But that aside, you're criticizing it publicly and you're not providing a counter report. You're just saying that because you don't think Rhys would make sense, this report's not real, which is garbage. That's a garbage opinion. So that's where I stood. Where did you guys land on that?
I stood on it that I kind of went with that classic. Howard Eskin is a mouthpiece, or back in the day he was for the Eagles, and then he just trashed everybody else.
Right.
He always held up for the Eagles, and then everybody else didn't know what they were doing. One-trick ponies, yada, yada, yada. The entertainment value for a long time was fine, but at this point, he's a dinosaur.
Yeah. Bones, is that where you landed on that too?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things. One, he was kicked out of the Phillies press conference for shit he did 2 years ago. Devin Caney took his job, so he's probably pissed off about that. And then his reports are tweeting something 3 weeks ago that was reported, and then he tries to use it as his.
Well, what was the recent one he had?
We all subtweeted that stuff and coming at him before.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing is like,
and I like how she just commented, "Oh yeah, that can't happen because you don't have a job."
Right. Yeah, she played that pretty classy and well. But I don't, not to sound like a broken record here, but if you're going to publicly come out from a position where it's a clear sour grapes position, right? Like it's an obvious sour grapes position, you got to at least have a little bit of meat behind what you're saying. You can't just say, if the report, it doesn't matter what the report is. The report's the report. Devin Caney isn't saying that she thinks that Rhys Hoskins is a good fit. She's just reporting what she was being told. But anyway, yeah, I just thought that was crazy.
Right. Don't shoot the messenger.
Don't shoot the messenger. Anything else on that at all? Should we move on to? I wanted to get Slim. I wanted to talk about our new team members.
Not too much. I was happy to hear that the Harper and the boys were watching the gold medal game. They're very excited. We can get into in a couple weeks, but it looks like we're going to be threading some very thin needles with this World Baseball Classic. I'm a little bit more concerned now, even though I want to see them capitalize after this weekend and after the Olympics.
Yeah, so I just wanted to spend a little bit of time here on a couple of the new squad members for the Red Corner. So we talked about this all of our socials, and we're very pumped about it. So if you haven't seen it, right, we are adding on a more consistent basis Chad Durbin, former Phillies pitcher, former World Series champion, who you've seen on the show in the past. He's going to be a consistent member of the team, right? So let me give you an example what something Chad will do. If we have like a pitching mechanics type question, or if we have a real in-game scenario, we might call Chad on. We'll do a little bit of a clip and have him break it down, right? Just to give you a little bit more flavor behind that. Now, Alex Cole, who a lot of you guys probably know from Twitter, 94 WIP as a producer, he's going to be joining as our eyes and ears, as we've been putting it, right? He's dialed in. He's got the sources within, his sources. So we will be utilizing him, and he's an awesome guy. A lot of people recommended him to us. We already thought it was a good fit. So Slim Bones, our conversations with him kind of when we made this decision, it was just a no-brainer, right?
Absolutely. And we saw with the episode with Chad Durbin, both these guys are industry people. Chad
100%.
Durbin is an athlete point of view. All right. Now we have the reporter word ear to the street sourced one, and then us, we're the ears to the street. What are the people saying, how are they saying it, and then when we come here we kind of just beat it all up, focus it, and yeah, it's going to be great.
Very excited, so stay tuned because there's going to be a lot of fun content surrounding that. And the last thing I wanted to say, we put this on our socials. If anyone knows of, because this is kind of really rounding it out, any young reporter or whatever age, someone that's following the Phillies minor league system, right? Anyone at all that you think is a good fit with us, send them our way. We'll have a conversation because that's something that we would like to have someone, report on the farm periodically, just to kind of really round out our show. So just let us know. We got some good chat activity here. So let's bring up this stuff here. We have Willie D in the chat saying we're going to need to have Chad break down a lot of Andrew Painter's starts. I love that. And you might have been, your ears might have been ringing there, Willie D, because stay tuned. We got some content coming your way on a very similar topic to that. Anything else on that, boys?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't, like we said, we need games to get here.
Right.
They're here in some fashion. It was like I said, I don't want to jump the boat, but yet seeing real baseball was fantastic.
Very fantastic. And speaking of real baseball, like you said, Slim, spring trading is back. We've had 3 games over the past 3 days. And, let's just kind of put it right here. Anything that you've seen, boys, over the past 3 days that has influenced who you think is going to make this final roster? 26-man.
Who I think? No, I don't think so. Everyone I thought we've seen a couple. We knew there was 2 names that were off the roster that were probably going to be on the roster, and that was Painter and Crawford. So that's all. But we were implying they would make the roster, and that implication is still there.
Sure.
I know one guy that's not making the roster. Jonathan Hernandez. Jesus God.
Yeah. He got
3
he got
hits,
rocked,
3
right?
walks.
Yeah.
Yeah. You name it, he did it.
And then what? Nolan Hoffman came in and let the inherited grand slam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a guy that I had circled as well. Because honestly, what it really comes down to, and we'll be revisiting these names all spring. There's an extra bench bat, if you will, or the extra outfielder, and then 2 bullpen spots, right? So the guys that we saw over the past weekend, we saw McCambley look pretty good. We saw Backus look pretty good. So those are the guys that I was kind of circling those guys.
Right. I wouldn't. I would have to go through, but like I said, I've been on McCambly. I got the Shogart, and Backus seems really good too. If
Yeah.
it comes out of two of those three, that's a good race. But I think all three of those guys have the stuff. We saw the first highlight we saw was Shogart striking out Harper, and then that was before the game started earlier last week when they reported. And
Right.
then and with the games, those three guys seem solid. So I wouldn't be shocked if all three, if they're not on the roster, they at least don't get called up and get some serious time with us
At some point. Yeah, Bones, anything as far as in addition to like the extra bullpen guys, obviously, like we were saying, the Backus, he really
I
jumped out.
like the Backus, like being that third lefty out of the bullpen for us,
Right.
with Alvarado and Tanner Banks, Chris's boy.
Yeah.
What do you make though of the delivery? It's always fun to watch those deliveries you saw, and he has the submarine style, right? That's how I would describe it.
A little bit
Hard to
higher
pick
up
up.
than that. Yeah, it's hard to pick up.
Yeah. Well, my vernacular with the pitching mechanics is going to only grow with Chad Durbin, so that's why I'm listening, because I have a hard time describing what I'm watching sometimes.
It's tough, dude.
With that being said, so many times these guys are awesome, and then when they finally do pick it up out their hands, it's like they solved the cheat code. They start getting rocked around the park. So I do think that's a variable that these other two guys may not have, that Backus does have. It's great, because so much of the game is hiding the ball. And that might be that might be something that's happened. And then once somebody picks up on it, it might be contagious picking up on it faster than it would be for others.
And 100%, and not to cut you off there, Slim, but chat, I see a lot of activity here. So do us a favor. We're doing a surprise giveaway, and we're going to roll it out in a different way. So do us a favor. We got this nice Phillies bat to give away. This is all we need you to do. In the chat, hashtag Red Rider, all lower, hashtag Red Rider, and that's going to automatically enter you into a giveaway. So again, chat, hashtag Red Rider, and then you'll automatically be entered into this giveaways, and you'll see on the screen towards the end of the episode, it'll run the raffle for you. So do me a favor, let's trial this out. Someone be a leader and start hashtag Red Rider. Go ahead, Slim. What were you going to say on that?
No, that's it. I think the argument a month ago was how is this team better? And one way this team is better is that the pitching depth is better. And I think we see it with our lowest end guys. Our weakest guy is a guy who thinks they're really, really, really good and really wants to make an impact and honestly make themselves some money.
For sure. And we got a couple chat activity here. Jerry in the chat saying, the thing I'm seeing is these young kids aren't being coached real well. A lot of first pitch swingers. All right, it's something to keep an eye on, Jerry.
Well, it's in the spring, you see like games where guys are just coming out throwing fastballs. So if a lot of these young guys are coming out and they're sitting on fastball, they're going to try to swing for it because they're trying to make a name for themselves too.
For sure. And the thing that I love to hear is that people say spring training doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter for everybody, right? It matters for some guys. It matters for Kyle Backus, right?
Right.
So people like to say that, but that's not true. It does matter for a lot of these guys.
And it matters because you got to figure out what you got to work on. You got to soak in the information because your opportunity might come. That spring training might just be your opportunity to show yourself at spring training for the first time, and you're building for the what's coming next. And it might not even be on the Phillies.
100%. And again, remember, guys, hashtag Red Rider. That's how you enter the giveaway. I see a couple people already spelling Red Rider wrong in the chat. So let's get those spell checks. Ged, what do you got, Bones?
The one guy like Chris was talking about, like back end of the bullpen, stuff like that, like low guy, and that's Seth Johnson. I mean, we picked him up a couple years ago. Looked like he was throwing the ball good last year, and then hit like a little struggling point, and then gives up a run, walk, stuff like that. He's got to, like guys like that, got to pitch well in the spring so they can make a name. Like if he starts out AAA, but then injuries happen, he comes up, maybe spot start here, there, long relief. He's a guy that needs to be on point.
For sure. Should we transition to a little bit of a little internet game that I saw online here?
Dude, well, I think we got to do a couple more takeaways with the first set of games being back.
Yeah, well, dude, open season. What do you got for me?
I think the first thing is it was so happy to see Justin Crawford.
Yeah.
Right? Not just hit the ball, but that dude smacked a double with 2 strikes, 104 off the bat. And when I checked, I was like, is that a ground? No, that ball was in the air. And it was like mid center field. He smacked the crap out of it, and it was off some pro pitching too. It wasn't like he was facing minor league guys right there. So that was great to see. He then hit another very hard ball to the shortstop that was tough to handle. So he got 2 nice little hits. He looked very good. And then here's the other thing. Our team's better because I believe the pitching depth overall is a little stronger. So shout out to Dombrowski for those little moves here and there. And what about Kyle Schwarber, man?
Schwarbomb, baby.
Schwarbomb right away. Just like we expected. For those people that you cannot overstate how important of a signing it was to bring him back. And we got him back at a great number.
If there was any doubt that if he still got it, he just quickly hits a Schwarbomb.
So how's he not? He's going this is going to be a great year for him.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, I easily think these next 2 years he's hitting 50 bombs, which makes that contract.
I hope he hits 50 bombs next 2 years.
I think he's hitting 50 bombs.
You're saying 50 each year.
Each year, yeah.
Okay, that's a bold statement.
I think he's a 50 bomb guy this next 2 years.
I would love that. Dude, so back to what you were saying, that Crawford at bat was ridiculous. So, like you said, major league hitter. I believe he started showing bunt at one point. He crushes the ball, home run territory, went foul, right? But home run distance, absolute rope. And then that double to left center was beautiful, right off the gap. He's got wheels, so he easily got the second. It was an exciting overall. We got a Schwarbomb. We got Crawford to do some things we can get excited about. A pretty good first weekend for the Phillies in spring. Absolutely.
Don't we have a minor setback today announced with Aiden Miller being a little hurt?
Yeah. So Harper kind of spilled the beans incidentally in the clubhouse, basically saying that he's hurt. Right. He's got a little back soreness. Nothing crazy.
And that's funny because for the listeners who may not know, it was reported maybe on the Phillies show, but I guess they could all report it simply because Miller's locker room is in between. Is it Schwarber and Harper or Ramuto and Harper?
I think it's Turner and Harper.
So 2 guys with big, huge deals, long-term guys, leaders, everyday players, and our boy is smack in the middle of them.
Right. So that's
another thing, keeping it in-house. He's spilling the beans.
I know. It's so funny. And he did not look happy in that interview either, so unfortunately, Harper has entered the territory of he already was hyper criticized just because he's Bryce Harper. But now any little thing where doesn't look happy, he's going to get criticized. Yes, the first couple minutes of that interview were rough. Boys, anything else on spring? I
want to see Bryce Harper go with the old school Slim Shady blonde hair this summer. I think do that and keep the brown beard.
He's had the highlights.
Yeah.
All right, boys,
we got a Taiwan start tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe an audition for another team.
Yeah, right. So here we go. I saw this trend on the internet, right? So we were told we want to get a little more hip. So this is what we got. So basically, this is how this was framed. And chat, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And remember, chat, hashtag Red Rider. It enters you into the raffle. So please, hashtag Red Rider in the chat. All lower. I don't think that matters. But anyway, you see a list of icons here, logos of all fast food restaurants and fast casual. Now, the way this was framed, boys, and I'll start with mine to give you time to think. If there were only 4 restaurants total in whatever city or town you lived in, so let's just think about this where you can't go anywhere else, right? Which 4 are you picking out of all of these logos? So I'll give you times to kind of give you a second to analyze this. This is my 4. I'm starting off. I'm going to go bougie. I got to get my Starbucks, get my Starbs, got to get my coffee. Love that I live off their iced coffee, starting with Starbucks. Then I'm going to go Chipotle as my second one, Panera Bread, and who did I have my 4th here? Panera Bread, and then Boston Market. So I'll put it out there. I would say 3 out of 4 of those have fallen off, but I got to make a pick here. So, Slim, what do you got?
All right, I'm looking around. A lot of these have fallen off.
Yes.
I'll make my coffee at home, so I don't need the Starbucks. So I'm going Five Guys, burgers and fries, best cheeseburger, best fries. I'm in on Five Guys. I know the price is crazy, but I'll take Five Guys. I'll take Chick-fil-A.
Good pick.
I'll take. This is where it gets a little tricky. I know my fourth. You know what? I'll show respect. I'll get Pizza Hut. All right, I'll show respect to the Pizza Hut box. So give me Five Guys, Chick-fil-A, Pizza Hut, and last but not least, you cannot disrespect the best breakfast, and it's been like this since Big Daddy. I'm sure it was like this in the 80s too. You got to take McDonald's, all right?
Wow.
You got to take McDonald's.
All right. That's a pretty good. So Pizza Hut, you can't even get that anywhere nowadays, right? They closed down 1 million of those stores, so you're getting a vintage one. So,
Yeah.
Bones, what do you got here, man?
Oh man, too much. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is always a goodie. Nice and steady. No problems when you go there. Get your food and get out. You know.
Mm-hmm.
In-N-Out Burger. When I was out in Vegas, out there, I had one of them, and it was awesome.
Better than Five Guys.
Burger. Yes.
Interesting. So the in-N-Out. Yeah, did you finish? Yeah, finish your thing. I want to comment on that.
Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell.
Oh boy,
it's awesome. And of course, Cold Stone. I love my ice cream. Everybody knows I love. Dude, I had Dairy Queen on there too, but I couldn't have 2 ice creams. But
wow,
go Cold Stone. Cold Stone's awesome.
Cold Stone. That's a throwback, dude. We used to go to Cold Stone all the time. Chris, you used to work at Cold Stone, right? Slim?
Yeah, it wasn't my first job. It was one of my first 5 jobs, but it was. And I had some bad jobs. I was an orderly at a place. I had some bad jobs.
That was your worst job ever, right?
Worst job I ever had. Job I ever had. I used to have to stand on the counters, scrape the ceilings, scrub the waffle makers, right?
Yep.
And then the literally sing for your tips, and the tips always seem to miss Chris, even though I was bringing in people who were tipping 20s back in 2005.
That's hilarious, dude. So, what's the worst job you ever had, Bones?
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's.
You were there for a while, though.
No, not too
really.
Long.
Not too long.
It just sucked working every weekend.
Year and a half
not being able to see I'm at a sports bar, but I can't enjoy the games. Like when the Phillies lost to the Giants in 2010, I basically couldn't see none of that game because I had hurt my knee. So I was doing cover charge. So I was collecting money for cover charge. I couldn't see none of that game. And Penn State was playing Michigan that same night, and Denard Robinson went off on Penn State. And I seen none of it because I was on light duty.
The bad time of your life to be working there. So it's funny, a lot of chat activity on this. So the worst job I ever had, which is at a restaurant which I will not name publicly, but I will say it was in Wildwood, New Jersey. I worked in the kitchen. It was horrible. Horrible. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. But so we have people laughing that you guys had to sing at Cold Stone. That was brutal.
We had to get the job. You had to write a jingle real fast and sing it.
Willie D in the chat saying he's never had Panera bread. So look, Panera was in the list of one of the things that has fallen off for me. But my selections were based off of diversity of food. I want to be able where I can get a lot of different variety. So I went Panera because you can get a lot of stuff at Panera. Now, Red Rider Chris in the chat had a great call out. El Pollo Loco, hands down the best fast food Mexican joint. It embarrasses Taco Bell. That is correct. When I used to live down in Florida, I used to crush Pollo Loco, however you say it, all the time. And they were almost on my list.
Yeah, it sounds good. Just never been.
Yep. Anything else I'm missing here in the chat?
Yeah, Phillies won in 2026. Brianna Torres is back.
Brianna Torres, OG. We love it.
We have to maybe pour one out, because if we asked this question 2-3 years ago, I think at least one of us, if not 2 or 3 of us, say Wendy's. Talk about fall offs, and we see the news with Wendy's. Wendy's is falling off. They're closing stores left and right. It hasn't been the same.
Yep.
You can go back the last 25 years, whatever, salad bar, the whole thing. Wendy's has really changed, and it's a shame because at one point they were my number one.
Yes. Yeah. No, you called that, and I gave you love online that that Wendy's fall off, because you're right. The spicy chicken quality has dropped like by 50% at least, and I've been noticing it. It's been staring at me, but I've been in denial. So you're 100% right. Shane in the chat asking about the El Pollo Loco store. Is that the thing in Breaking Bad? Shane, I believe that was what it was based off of, in my opinion. The store in Breaking Bad, I think, was based off of that show, that store rather. Also, reminder here, chat. We're going to do that giveaway soon because obviously we want you all to be here when we do it. All you got to do in the chat, hashtag Red Rider. And remember, if you're new here, we're going to get a lot of new eyes and ears, especially with all the announcements you just made. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. We've been battling. We've been going the long way. 1,500 subscribers. Help us get there.
And what's everyone's opinion on Chipotle? Chris mentioned the Polo joints being the best, not Taco Bell. I still like Chipotle. A lot of you put Chipotle on your list.
Yeah.
There's some people, man. There's some grumblings about Chipotle, but I'm still all in on Chipotle. Those people who have had the other alternatives, is it better? Am I missing out? Do I got to move?
So the competitor of Chipotle right now, I can't think of it's all over South Jersey. I can't think of the name of it. It's a very similar vibe to Chipotle, the main competitor. My opinion, the big thing that happened with Chipotle is the service fell off. In the beginning, remember, they were like, they really ran a good store. Kind of like how Jersey Mike's, you ever go to a Jersey Mike's, they're extremely well run, right? Now, Chipotle used to be that way. They fell off. So some people, I think, criticize that. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Anything else? Should we get to this raffle?
Hopefully nobody from Applebee's Ben Salem is watching this, since none of us had Applebee's on there, and we host an Applebee's event every year.
True. Yeah, don't take that personally. If you had to live on, Applebee's, like, I feel like the average meal in Applebee's is like 2,000 calories.
The argument is they got alcohol. I don't think we chose any place that has alcohol. We chose 9 places not have booze.
Right. And Pancheros, that's right. I was thinking of Pancheros. That's the competitor. Some people like Pancheros more than Chipotle. I disagree. I like them both. But last call for the giveaway. If you enter in the next 30 seconds, we will. And by the way, I hope this works and I don't look like a jackass. So we're gonna run this here. Let's see how this works. Add this to the stage.
I had Chipotle once. That was when I was down in Florida with Devin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Taco Bell, it's just cheaper cleanse.
All right, so here we go, guys. So last call, get that entry in. We're going to do in 10. All right, let's go here. Let's run this.
We might have to reframe the cheesesteak question of that, too. If you were going to move, not what's the best cheesesteak to get in Philly, but if you were going to move away, what cheesesteak spot would you take with you? Because there's something to be said about what's your go-to cheesesteak and what you think is the best cheesesteak. Right?
I agree with that. Let's run this raffle here. Let's go now. Here we go.
Oh, look at this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Imagine we won. Oh my God.
I did win. Yes, thank
idiot.
you. Run it again. Run it back. Run it back.
That's
You're going
amazing.
to pick somebody from the chat. This is what I do in my class. If I call on someone and they don't want to answer, I let them pick somebody and pick somebody else.
Let's see if we can even do another one.
I'm a knucklehead. I just said what's up to everybody. I said hashtag Red Riders. What's up in the chat?
So you hashtag it though?
Yeah, I did. I hashtagged it in there.
Well, hold on. I think we can do it again. Let's run it back here. All right, for the bat. This is for the bat, guys.
The red corner is going to win now.
You're the fire horse.
All right, there you go.
I thought
Congratulations,
so
Bruce. Bruce,
That's
wherever
like
you are, DM us. We'll find you, Bruce. DM us in one of our socials, and we will get you that back. Congratulations. You are the winner.
Bones, that reminds me of watching those duck races down at the Downtowner Club during March Madness. That second race, we always had an identical run.
Yes. What do you guys think? Not bad, that new feature, right? Pretty cool.
That was sick.
Yeah.
That all that has been awesome.
Yeah, so for live chats, we'll do that towards the end because I'm thinking we'll tease it in the beginning and then, just so I'm not talking about it a million times, but for the first time, I wanted people to be aware, kind of teach the audience, so they expect it in the future.
I'm just one lucky guy. I
You
can't believe
are.
I won.
That's awesome.
And it takes me back to St. Patty's Day at your house when I guessed the jelly beans to one off on the jelly beans?
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah, something's up. I'm telling you, something happened. I've entered the Slim and Bone zone, as I used to describe it.
Slim, I love that. Should we tease our Red Corner trip? You're going to spring training for the first time. You excited?
Super duper excited. Cannot wait. 9 days left. The countdown is in full-fledged effect. The snow here is brutal. I need to get the sun. I'm a little bit worried about showing up looking like a White Walker down there, being super but I'm excited to get there.
So you're parlaying a Universal trip first, right?
Only for a quick night. So
that's fun though.
Florida's a hotbed. It made more sense. We're flying into Universal. I believe on Wednesday night we're going to spend a quick little night there, and then rent a car, drive over to Clearwater the following morning.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
I'm pumped. I'm excited to kind of check out some new places, but also since I was there last year, I can show you around the spots that I really enjoyed. So it'll be fun, man.
And I heard there's actually really good shopping there. I mean,
I'm sure.
I'm hearing there's great shopping.
I'm sure the ladies love, getting like the beach stuff, right? All the bags and
the port or something. But yeah, there's a spot.
A couple chat activity here. So Red Rider Chris is saying, I'll tell you what, though, Taco Bell Fire Hot Sauce, which they now sell as hands down price per quality in the grocery store. Interesting.
Okay. I got to check that out. I'm a baby. I don't like doing the tear hot sauce. I need to squeeze out a bunch of stuff. I don't know. So no hot sauce that's just a tear can be in my top anything.
So what is that? Because it's just annoying for you to open?
Annoying for me to open. I'm not getting enough. The whole process is to feed it with me having to tear and probably have to use so many.
Got it.
I drown my stuff. I like to drown the stuff.
And Bruce says in the chat, he spelled it wrong and he still won it. Yeah, he originally was one of the typo guys, so he showed some resilience there.
Lost the spelling bee, won the contest.
There you go. That's right. Thank God it wasn't a spelling bee. And then Chris is adding there $1.99 for a bottle of that.
Beautiful.
$6.50 for. I mean, that's value, man.
Yeah, that's the information we need, and I didn't even bottle it, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like that 7,000 more.
No, it's cheaper to get if I go in the store, because that's honestly I think one of the turnoffs it had on me. If I see Taco Bell, I was thinking it would be more expensive.
Yeah,
but I'm way off. $2.
Some of the fast food places have kind of ventured into that. I know, like Cheesecake Factory sells some of their stuff in the grocery stores.
And is it
overrated?
And can they sell it relatively cheaper because it's now retail compared to the because they got two things going on. They got two avenues they occupy, or not really, because you still need to keep the same margins on whatever you're selling.
So you're saying overrated on Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, overpriced, overrated.
Okay. So do you guys separate, and then we'll wrap things down, chat. We'd like to hear your opinion on this. And by the way, it's spring training, guys, so sue us. Obviously, there's not that much Phillies going on right now. We're going to have some fun towards the end of our episodes. When you do an overrated, underrated, assignment on a restaurant, do you factor in the price? I push back and say it's not fair, but I want to hear your opinions on that.
No, I go straight off vibes. And
so
the price would be factor into the established vibes of the place. I think what we've seen.
So you do factor it in.
Right. It's built in.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say I love this place and then docked it due to the price.
Yeah.
You know, it's like because we understand that there's a difference between sitting down at certain places and trying to get fast food.
Right. For sure. Bones.
I think Cheesecake Factory, they take forever. I don't think the food's that good. And I think the cheesecake is way over. You get a slice. It's like a slice of cheesecake. It's like $15.
Is that what they charge?
Something crazy. It's asinine,
dude. And you taking your family out to dinner. I mean, that's a $500 night for you at Cheesecake Factory.
It's crazy. Like the prices they have compared to like somewhere else, and it's literally like chicken nuggets and mac and cheese would be like double the price there than it would be anywhere else.
Right.
Bones is going to have a legendary run when all his daughters are graduating high school or 8th grade and high school. You're going to have to rent the halls and not do any graduation dinners.
Buffalo Blasts are good, Bill.
Yeah, shout out to the Buffalo Blasts. So next year for spring training, I don't care what we do. I know Bones had a lot going on this year with, by the way, winning the Downtowners. I mean, winning the Mummers. So a lot going on for him this year. It was tough for him to make it work. But next year, we got to get the whole gang down there. So we got to make that work one way or the other for spring training next year. Boys, shall we close it down? What anything else? Any closing thoughts? And then we'll close it down.
No. I think as we approach Remuto, Harper, they all believe. Slim believes that we are the second team.
Yeah.
That we're the best bet to dethrone the Dodgers, and what a great spot to be in. We're the underdogs. People don't like us. Some of our fans may not even like us at this point, and that's the best spot to be in. I think this team's going to be super hungry, and I can't wait to play.
Bones, what do you got for
me? I've heard more negative comments about the Phillies this offseason than I have like when they sucked.
Well, it's
like
been
people
a nice,
are like out on them.
Yeah, it's been a nice kind of psychological thing to sit back and watch. Really what it is, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I guess we're not going to close things down. Let's jump into this. Is the casuals, right? The casuals, you hate to say that and sound like a D-bag, but they probably make up the majority of fan bases on the pie, right? For all fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to the point of where the Phillies are, where they didn't win the World Series for a few years in a row in the playoffs, the casuals are going to be the loudest at that point, and they're going to be ones jumping off. That's where we're at.
Well, and I little pushback with the casual stuff, because the real pushback and the real argument is that we heard this before. Run it back. I branded it the remix because it mostly is the same. Our meat of our production really is coming back again, and we're hoping for them to hit and do stuff that they haven't really done yet in the last 3-4 years. But with that, there's truth to be told on the other end with the talent inflow that we have, hopefully, with the youth movement. So it is complicated. Once the game starts, when we have Sanchez, when we have Luzardo, when we have hopefully Painter, and then later Wheeler, we're going to be racking up wins. The SWOR bombs are going to be firing off.
Right.
The little kids are going to be going nuts, and we're not going to be dropping series after series. That first month, we're going to be above 500, and no one's going to be arguing.
Yeah, I guess so you're basically saying, when you said you're pushing back, you're basically saying you think a lot of the criticism is on the run it back aspect. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, because
that's fair.
It's the same. It's the same faces. They wanted something else. I think a lot of people do understand. Beginning of the offseason, they might not have understood that we got 25% roster turnover, but we've been slamming on it. Topper's been slamming on it, and then kudos to Scott Laupert, because that's where I heard it. He came out with the production numbers, and even though two things can be true, right?
Yeah.
And now it's time for the players to do their things and do what they do best, and that's play baseball and win, so we can be come together again as a fan base and not argue about run it back or who, what, or where, why.
The run it back's so funny. And then Shane with a good comment here. Even though you hear there's a lot of pressure on the Phillies, I feel like there's actually less than in years past, if that makes sense. Yeah, because we're further away from the World Series. I think that's what it is. Meaning like 2022, You just went to the World Series. Now the next year, everyone's like, all right, let's go back to the World Series, right? So I think we kind of got a little bit out of that. Like the World Series or bust mentality, you're an absolute goofball if you have that mentality. Like I hate to say that because you're just setting yourself up for a disappointing journey of the year. You really are. Because it's really we've won 2 World Series in like 100 and something years, guys. Like it's hard. Like it really is. And Willie D, one of our favorite Red Riders here, saying we have more question marks this season. I think that's why. That's true. That's a good point.
But it's good to have some of those old pieces not clog it up, because if we maybe not have question marks, but they wouldn't have been productive pieces. So I'd rather have question marks that we can see what they're doing, and I'm here for the change. Hopefully the change is for the better. It might not be, though.
Yeah. So let's close with this because I've been trying to come with an analogy in my head right now. I use the word casual, right, and to start this conversation, like the Flyers for all of us, right? Now, I think Bones is probably the most dialed into the Flyers out of us three. I haven't watched a Flyers game in 20 years. Like that's not an exaggeration, genuinely. Now, what I was going to say is if the Flyers won the World Series, there you go. The Flyers won the Stanley Cup the next 2 seasons, right? I'm probably going to watch the Stanley Cup, right? They're going to bring this casual in to watch the Stanley Cup. So it's an extreme example of like the winning brings people in, right? So like, does that connect with you guys at all?
100%. 100%. And the intensity. We just watched the Olympics. I was watching figure skating. I was watching long jump. And this is stuff I'm not interested at all, but there's a narrative.
Right.
And if your team gets to the Stanley Cup or the World Series, the narrative is Philadelphia's about to be champions, which everyone can be a part of. And that's how you get moments like Dancing on My Own and stuff like that. Because the whole city's bought in. You can't have moments like that if it's just going to be the diehards, pencil pusher dorks,
right?
Like us, because that's what we are, right?
Yeah. No, true.
Yeah, and to me, I would consider. I guess I watch every game, but I'm not like a diehard Eagles fan. Like I don't live and die by the Eagles every week, like a lot of people do.
Yep.
The tradition of watching football every week is a little bit different and easier than back in the day. I used to be a 75% Flyers guy, right? even when I wasn't watching the Flyers that much, I was still probably in that 75% range. I'm not anymore.
We debunked that, I thought. But I wonder at your peak what you really were. Like truly. You think
5%?
No.
We figured it out.
I was watching hockey a ton.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to bring forth, because you're right. The Eagles comparison's not the same thing. It's once a week. It's, football's, it's a social event. It's everyone's coming together. You're watching the Birds every weekend, right? It's 16 games or 17 games. But like, if you're not an actual fan of the sport inherently, if you're just fan of the environment, the fun, then you probably don't want to watch a team unless they're, making you feel special by winning playoff games, right? I'm just fascinated by that. I just love to kind of figure out the psychology of that stuff. Really. Because the way some people talk on Twitter, it's like, well, why do you watch the team? You know what I mean?
So, like, I had to give up watching other sports, and it led me to doing this with you guys, because let's talk about the Sixers just briefly.
Sure.
I was watching it like a coach. That's one issue. And then the other issue, when you watch it like that, you end up not liking the style of play, and you have no control over it. You want to see winning, and you want to see winning done your way, and you're just a fan sitting on your couch. So that was my issue. I was getting upset that they weren't playing a certain way that I like to watch. And who am I to even say? And then I would watch a possession. I'll watch 100 and something possessions a night of it, and I was done. And same thing happens with football. I'm watching certain kind of game styles that I don't like, and I hate. I would start hating on it, and then it wasn't even enjoyable. So you got to stop watching. So you're right. What you should, a lot of those people got to come to that realization, like you're saying, and just move off the sport if it's that. The truth is, baseball is the least to that, because there's really only one way to play the game, and that's the right way.
Right. Yeah. Well said. Anything else?
No.
We did it right under an hour. All right, so chat tonight was a lot of fun. So thank you for hanging out. We'll make sure we get that batch over to you. And please, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know it helps. Guys, stay tuned. We have a lot of really exciting stuff coming up. Obviously, the themes of spring training will be who's going to make that 26-man roster. So we'll be kind of narrowing that down as we get closer to opening day. Be on the lookout for content with Slim and I down in Clearwater. And go Phils. See you soon. Shovel your snow. Bye.